Hey guys, welcome back to the A&M channel. As you guys can see, it's just me by myself once again. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Maria and my husband's name is Andrew, which he's not here at the moment. And if you're new here as well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Excuse me if I'm whispering, it's just my son is asleep and I don't want to wake him up from me being so loud and whatnot. Little boy, he's our puppy. His name is Mello. He's a little baby boy. Just want to introduce him real quick. So you guys, as you guys can read by the title, you guys probably know that I'm doing a part 2 of my labor and delivery story. So stay tuned, guys. So I know me and my husband did a part 1 video of my labor and delivery story, but I didn't get so much into detail regarding of what happened at the hospital, the process of being there. So this video is kind of pretty much to elaborate on what happened. I want to talk about the recovery I went through, if I'm breastfeeding, if I'm giving formula, and all of those type of things. So as I mentioned in the other video, I did arrive at the hospital around, I went to the hospital around like 5:40. We got there around 6, I'd say 6 something. The reason why I say I was in labor for like 4 or 5 hours is because once we got to the hospital, which was like 6 in the morning, 6 something, we went into triage. From triage, if you guys never been to a hospital, they take forever. Nurses after nurses have to be keep checking on you, and like just takes forever. So by the time a nurse came in and attended me, it was already 9. They checked if my water was actually had broken, and from there another nurse had to come in to put in the IV, which that took long too. Probably took, I don't know, it took a pretty long time, just because they couldn't find my vein. So they put these big warm cloths on me, and I had to stay there for like 20 minutes. And mind you not, there was a nurse in training, so they were training that nurse, and she was trying to find my vein and whatnot. So it was just a long process until they finally decided to just put the IV on my wrist, on the side of my wrist. So after that, they took me into my delivery room. After my delivery room, another nurse came in and she talked to me. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna be the one helping you, blah 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 blah. This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna go ahead and let you contract on your own, and if you're not contracting fast enough, then we're gonna go ahead and put Pitocin." Okay, so anyhow, I had to change where I was at, because in the little office that I was in, it was getting pretty hot in there, and yeah. Anyhow, going back to the story. So yes, they told me, we're gonna let you contract, and how fast the process goes, if we don't have to put any, if it's going fast and whatnot, no Pitocin. Well, I was contracting, but I guess I wasn't contracting fast enough, because once my water breaks, I guess you're at risk of getting an infection, or the baby getting an infection. So they put on 1 dose of Pitocin, and they said, okay, we're gonna see if with 1 dose speed up the process. Mind you not, as I mentioned before, I did not get the epidural because I just wanted to experience labor. And at that point, I wasn't even thinking of any medication. I was just no medication, whatnot. But I did say that if I were to get Pitocin, I was gonna get the epidural. Did I? No. I heard Pitocin is very strong, and like it hurts more, like it makes your contractions hurt even more. So yes. Well, honestly, I don't know how it would feel without Pitocin, because when I got to the hospital, I wasn't contracting at all. I didn't probably start feeling contractions until I was like 6 centimeters already. And at 6 centimeters, they weren't as strong as I would think. So I was still breathing through them. So I still didn't get the epidural, and they would come in every time and ask me, hey, do you want any medication? You want the epidural? Blah, blah. No. I would say no. Long story short, I would be, excuse me for your mother brother out in the background. Labor, as I mentioned, was like 4 to 5 hours because I was opening up every hour or 2 or so. So I probably got into the delivery room around, I'd say 10 or 9. Make it 9. I think it was 9, like 9 something. I'm not really quite sure. Don't quote me on my times because it's been 3 months already, and once you get into the hospital and you're about to deliver, you're not really thinking about the time, you're not looking at the time, you just want, your baby out. So I don't know, by the time they put the IV it was probably 8, and by the time I got to the delivery room it was probably 9. Let's just go ahead and say that. They put on the little monitor thing so they could hear the heartbeat for the baby, so on and so on. So I was dilating every hour or so. By the time I got to 2, that's when I was like, I have to push this baby out. The way it feels is it feels like you need to take the biggest poop ever. Like you feel like every contraction feels like you need a push. Like if you need to take the biggest poop ever, I swear. And it was like around 2 something, or I even told the nurse, I was like, I need to take a shit. I need to go take a poopy. And she's like, I don't think you need to, but I mean, if you want to try, go ahead. So I go and I try, and I couldn't. Long story short, I did deliver at 2:21, so it was like about 20 minutes or so of me pushing, and he was out. And yeah, he was healthy baby boy. Recovery. It hurts. Vaginal delivery hurts. Honestly, it hurt, but it wasn't as bad as I would think it would hurt. It was probably, from a scale from 1 to 10, the pain was probably like a 5 or a 6 to me, personally. It all depends on your pain tolerance, so other people could say it was really bad, and it just depends. But the pushing part, let me explain that. The pushing part, pain, hurt, I ripped, so it did hurt, and there's a point where I just want to give up, honestly. And then I wasn't breathing because the way they told me to breathe was like, okay, we count to 10, and then you need to take a breath, take a breathe in, like take a long deep breath, and then like hold it. And it was my first time, guys, and I couldn't breathe, and they even had to give me like a gas mask because I wasn't breathing. My blood pressure was going up, and it was just chaos for me, honestly. Like I wasn't breathing right, and they're like, oh my god, you're about to die because you're not breathing right. So it was pretty chaotic, but I ended up delivering, as I mentioned. So going back to the recovery, from a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it like a 5 or a 6. It wasn't as bad. I was still able to walk. Yes, I was still able to urinate. People say that it was like very like it burned. For me, it didn't burn, honestly. It burned when I ripped, when his head was coming out. That shit burned, honestly. I'm not trying to scare anybody if it's your first time having a kid or whatnot. That burned. That was hurtful. That was painful. Urinating afterwards, and then they give you this like little spray bottle so you can spray yourself with warm water. So instead of like wiping, you just spray down there and you clean yourself really well. You just tap tap tap, and then they give you this other numbing spray to put down there. They give you like these huge ass pads, no lie, because I afterwards you're supposed to be bleeding like a lot because your body's just eliminating all that excessive that you still have in there from the uterus, from the placenta and all of that. So you do bleed a lot. My bleeding, honestly, I can't think of how long it lasted. I'd probably say like it lasted 4 days. 4 days, yeah, probably. Or even more, I don't know, I can't remember. Don't quote me on the date, on the times and all. So, yes, so it didn't hurt. I'm walking, I was kind of limping because it hurt. Getting off the car, that was painful actually, because you had to open one leg and then, you know, take the other leg out, and it was just, that hurt for me. Sorry guys, my phone had died, so now I have to record on my camera had died, so now I have to record through my phone. I tried recording through the Nikon, but it doesn't have like a flip screen, so it's hard for me to see. Anyways, breastfeeding. I'm trying to get like the most important stuff, like how it felt in the recovery. If you need me to go more into detail, just let me know. There's not really much to it besides it's your own personal experience. It's your own pain tolerance. It's, for me, maybe the last centimeters from 8 to 9 centimeters, once you're already like ready to push, were the most difficult for me, because it was painful for me personally, because my pain tolerance, I guess, isn't as high as other people. So I was crying hysterically and pushing. It was difficult for me to breathe. Like, I couldn't breathe the way they were telling me to breathe. And other than that, it went smoothly. Delivering part, my baby latched on right away. There's no problem with it, except I did have trouble breastfeeding the first 2 days, just because people say that breastfeeding was painful. It wasn't as painful as people said, where they were crying and they just wanted to give up right away. Mine, it was more like I was frustrated because he did latch on, but there's times where he didn't latch on, because my baby was born very, very lazy, where even the nurses couldn't latch him onto my nipple because he was lazy. He didn't eat for 5 hours, literally, and that was bad. And the nurses were trying to help me, but he wouldn't wake up. They put like water on him, like not water, but they tried to put like the baby wipes to kind of wake him up. We took him out. He was wrapped up into like a little burrito, and we took him out of that little comfort zone where he was at, and nothing. He was still knocked out. We also tried giving him like I believe it's glucose, like some sugary drink. Like, not give it to him all, but just a little bit around his lips, just so he tastes that sweetness. Nothing was working. And then for me, it was very difficult because I had to, like, I guess when you breastfeed, you have to pinch your nipple like a little, like a sandwich, like a hamburger, I guess. You know, you kind of like just pinch it. That was difficult for me because I didn't know how to pinch him. I didn't know how to hold him. It was a process, but by the time I got out of the hospital, I did learn. And so I did learn, but at the same time, by the end of the day, because I only lasted in the hospital 1 whole day, so by the end of that day, I was like, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna introduce my baby to formula, because I thought he wasn't getting enough milk. Even though they tell you the baby's stomach is the size of a little pea, no, I didn't. I thought I was starving my baby. It was just I wanted my baby to get formula because I thought I wasn't feeding him enough. So I did introduce him to formula. By then I did both breastfeeding, and until this day, my baby's 3 months, turning 4 months on the 3rd of September. But until this day, I am breastfeeding and giving him formula at the same time. Because once I introduced him to formula, I know you could help your baby to just do breast milk even though you already introduced them to formula. But that wasn't for me. I thought like, no, my baby got used to the formula coming out fast, and so my breast wasn't producing fast enough for him, so he was getting mad and frustrated, and I just thought I was starving my baby. So that worked out and didn't work out at the same time, so I am still doing both. But honestly, breastfeeding, it is a challenge, first time moms, because you're learning. I didn't expect it to be as difficult as it was, to be honest, but it's not impossible to learn. So yeah, this video is probably going to be very long, but that's pretty much what happened. Depends on your pain tolerance. Once again, if you're a first-time mom and you're wondering about how is it going to feel, the pain, stuff that I wondered as a first-time mom, what to expect, it's your own experience, and I think you should experience it your way. I did tons of research, and even though you plan ahead and you do research and whatnot, it never goes that way. It's just however it's meant to be, however God gives you the path to where you need to be. I planned on, my mother-in-law bought me like a bouncing ball. I planned to use a birth ball. I planned to use that. I bought my headphones. I said I was gonna dance in the hospital just to like get it off my mind. I did put on the headphones, but I listened to one song. I did use a birthing ball, but I couldn't really sit on it because my back was hurting. Like towards the end, it just feels like your back is hurting, because I guess he's already like, my son was already like so low. No, I can't explain it, honestly, but it was just hurting. My back was hurting for a while. My mother-in-law did massage my back. That helped a lot. So if you have that support system, be grateful, especially after birth too, because you do need help after birth. You have to wait up to 6 weeks to be recovered. 4 to 6 weeks. You go back to your checkup to see if you're, if you had any stitches, if you recovered well, and so on and so on. That help does work a lot. My husband was such a great help. My mother-in-law, my mom would come and make like sopa, what is it, champurrado, like stuff like that, just so my breast milk would come in too, because I wasn't producing as much. And yeah, you just need that support system. Really helps. And that's all I have to say.